Guys, welcome back. Welcome if you're new. My name is Mandy, and today's going to be a little bit of a different content style. I am actually throwing in some homeschool stuff in here. I know there are plenty of homeschool accounts out there, but I do feel like with me being very planning oriented and stuff, it is part of my daily life, and it's really hard not to share that with you guys because you guys kind of come along with me in my plans and everything. But I also think it's, I don't know, it's kind of hard to come up with just planning content when my life involves so many other things with being a mom and a wife. So just very, very family oriented and homeschool oriented. So I figured I would go ahead and just kind of share our homeschool summer plans because we do not plan on taking off all of summer, but we still do plan on enjoying summer. And I thought it would be interesting for those of you who want to kind of feel like you need to still be in a routine or a flow. And I'm not saying that this is going to work, 100%. Nothing ever really does, I don't feel, but if you think about it ahead of time and you plan it out a little bit and you're intentional, don't have the highest expectation or standards of your plan, but have an idea. And I think that you can really fulfill some things and also stick to some kind of flow, which is what I'm hoping to do. So for our summer homeschool plans, let's just say I'm kind of doing this late, I guess, right? We're going into July right now as I'm filming this. And we've already basically had June. We belong to a one-day-a-week co-op, and they ended the Wednesday before Memorial Day. And I thought, well, that's fine. We don't have to end that, at that time, and we really don't. But I did find that it was really hard to stick to trying to do school when all of a sudden, all these fun things just started coming up. I mean, kids were getting invited to things and so forth. And I also love the flexibility of homeschool. So I'm like, I don't want to miss out on stuff, or I don't want them to miss out on anything. So we kind of started our summer at that time, and I had full on intentions to do, and I still do, one day a week of summer homeschool. So we would basically stick to our regular routine that we'd been working on. And I'm not going to say we had it down packed because honestly, we had some bumps at the end of the year. And it is what it is. So I should mention that I currently have a third grader who's going into fourth grade. I have a preschooler boy who's going into kinder. Both of them are boys. And then I have a 3-year-old toddler girl. So I have found some challenges schooling the boys with a toddler and just trying to do all the things and everything. But that's another video, and maybe I will make note to go over that if that's something that's interesting to you out there. But for now, what we had found working was doing a lot of independent stuff in the morning so I could be with my toddler. And then in the afternoon, we would basically work on lesson work together. So where I would be with the kids. I would be doing a lesson with one of them, and then the other one would be doing some independent, after the lesson kind of work, or just independent work or play. Because having a third grader and a preschooler, I mean, it's not like third grade or preschool has as much as third grade. So that's kind of the flow that we'd been going into. So I did plan on trying to stick to one day of doing that. But then, as I said, June hit, and I decided to put the boys into swim lessons. So that was 2 weeks every morning except Fridays. And that kind of threw it off. Plus we had just gone into summer. So I think we might have done school one of those weeks, but it was just kind of weird, if I can say. It just felt weird. So then we had another camp the third week of June, and then this last week, I'm trying to think, we had some things, that were scheduled, but then got changed because of other people's summer plans and so forth. So we did end up doing 1 day a week of school, and it was great. So that is my plan in continuing to do homeschool throughout the summer, is to do at least 1 day a week. And the reason I'm saying that too is because my personality is I want to get through all the lessons. We do the good and the beautiful math and language, and I wanted to make sure that we were able to get through all the lessons that we were supposed to before we start up our next grade level. It's just my personality. I know it doesn't have to be done that way. But I find it fun and challenging to like plan out our days to figure out how we can make that work. And I find it that I'm more intentional and goal oriented when I do that. So that is kind of why we do that. And we weren't able to get through all of our lessons in the year, mainly because we have 1 day a week co-op on Wednesdays. And then the other reason is on Fridays, we're pretty relaxed. We did some lessons on Fridays, but it wasn't regular. I'm just going to say right now, like regular Fridays for us, we're going out and being in nature with a group of ours, or maybe taking a field trip, cleaning the house, doing practical life stuff. So it still is very homeschool intentional, but wasn't really lesson work, and it wasn't really our biggest priority. I do have different plans to go into next year on how to, do all that, but I'm going to make that a separate video. So stay tuned for that if you want to see how I am planning the homeschool year to be intentional in finishing our lessons before the end of the school year. So we're not really doing or feeling the pressure to have to do even just 1 day of lesson work in summer. I like the idea of doing at least 1 day because I truly feel like we keep in some kind of routine. My kids aren't going to be shocked at when we do come, to the first day of school, even though we kind of ease into it, but they aren't going to be shocked at the new routine or too tired, that first day or first week, because they will have already been doing some of the flow. So that is honestly how I am planning on doing school over summer. I did have these thoughts of like, when we're home, we're going to have like a clipboard system, or, I'll have a few sheets for them to complete and whatnot. But I really just don't need that as of right now. We're working on our maybe a couple times a week doing math facts, so that way my son doesn't forget any of those. We do reading, Bible, and we do lessons the 1 day a week. I don't have a set routine on all of that, but I'm not being too hard on myself to make sure that I do that. I do want to make sure that we are doing at least 1 day a week of a school routine though, so that way I can keep them in the flow. And that way my toddler isn't super surprised when all of a sudden I have to start up school with all of them and I'm not as available. So ways that we're enjoying the summer though, in addition to that, is we have gone many times to the pool. We typically are getting invited from friends to do things. Things are just popping up, and honestly, that is how we are just really enjoying the summer. If things weren't popping up, kind of like they were last year when we were newer to this area, I was taking my kids to have at least a park day, usually in the morning, taking them to the library maybe every other week. And just making sure that we do a lot of water play outside at our house. We are lucky to have a neighborhood pool. But now that we've been here a year and a half, the kids have made some friends. I've made some friends, and we've been blessed to be invited to many things. And I also have to be very intentional about making sure that I am keeping in contact with my kids' friends' moms and families, so that way we can have some kind of play date, because I really do want to grow those relationships of the friends that my kids are making and with their families as well. And with that, we're staying pretty busy, and I haven't picked out an actual day of the week. I thought it was going to be Wednesdays because my son does piano on Wednesdays, but then we changed that to Thursdays. So now it might be Thursdays, but I'm also trying to say, you know what? It doesn't have to be that day at all, but we do have piano on Thursdays. Now it's in the morning though, and I purposely made it in the morning so that way if afterwards we wanted to hit up the pool or go to a friend's house or a park before lunch, then we could do that. But I am trying to make sure that we have at least one day a week at home. I have to be good about it though, because if I get a call or a text from a friend inviting us to somewhere, and that, like, say the night before we get an invitation, and the next day my plan was to do school, I get to where I'm like, oh, I don't want my kids to miss out on this and stuff. And it is summer, so it really does die down. So I'm sure that's going to happen, except I just, I really do need to be very intentional about making sure we do one day a week of school. So as I'm saying this, I think out loud a lot when I'm talking. As I'm saying this, I'm thinking maybe our one day a week would be good for Monday if we don't have anything planned on a Monday. For example, we do have something planned this Monday. But I also think it's important that the kids know what day a week that's supposed to be. When school starts up, it is going to be Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays for sure. And I will do a video very soon on how I plan on getting through all of our 120 lessons with doing school mainly 3 days a week and almost like a half day. So I will do that video very soon. But for now, I hope that this was a little bit helpful for any of you guys out there wondering what a busy homeschool mom does in the summer to still do school, but also enjoy their summer and make sure that we aren't, forced to do a schedule when you really kind of need that time to not have a schedule, but you also want to keep your kids in routine. So all right, I hope that you guys are enjoying homeschool content, and if you are, please hit the like button, comment below. Either way, I do plan on sharing because I love this subject and I love sharing how I plan it with you guys, even though it's not always on, paper in my planner. So have a wonderful, beautiful, blessed day, you guys, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye.